Skopos is from Raven Shield era, and her name is Coris Galanos. Her visual design is really based off of her story background and the trauma that she went through. In the anime that was released from the Year 9 Season 1, in the mission there was Daniel Bogard and Jared Morris at that time trying to stop the bomb maker. In the end, you see a giant explosion, and it was actually exactly that moment where she stopped being able to walk. Ever since then, she's a wheelchair user. She's been in a relentless chase trying to seek prosecution to stop Deimos. All that toll took an effect on her face. She looks very gaunt. She has eye bags, wrinkles, and ragged hair. Skopos is a master strategist. She adapted her wheelchair into her command center like a pilot seat. She uses the shells to be part of the action. In game, you can hear her, you can see her face when you swap between the two shells. When we're designing her wheelchair and the robots, we really had in mind to make sure that she feels very grounded. So we went with analog, old technology look. We really want to establish the fact that it's not smart AI robots. They're not invincible, they can be destroyed. When she loses Talos, Colossus, she's losing a part of her again. So for the design of the robots, we wanted to differentiate the two so you can identify them easily on the field. The difference are in the antennas, the shoulder pads, and colors and patterns are distinct to one another. We made sure to have the analog look by physically having buttons that you can push. They're wires that you can see, and they're not touch screens, they're not holograms, they are something that you can touch and feel.
Back when she was a field agent, Kyurei surveyed the area from afar as a sniper. Now, she still watches from a distance, but in a different way. Thanks to her new tech, Skopos is able to maintain a wide network of control unlike any other defender. That's because what Skopos brings to the field is not one, but two remotely controlled robotic operators. These shells, named Talos and Colossus, make up the V10 Pantheon system. At any given moment, one of Skopos' shells will be in an active state, where it functions like an operator, while the other remains in an idle state, where it functions like a powerful piece of defensive utility. Skopos' control allows her to swap the states of these shells, quickly delivering offensive or defensive power where it's needed most. Skopos' active shell works much like any other operator. It can move, shoot, and use gadgets. It's also Skopos' primary lifeline. If a shell is destroyed while it's active, Kyurei's link is severed, and she's functionally dead for the rest of the round. 2 bodies does not mean 2 lives. Meanwhile, Skopos' idle shell will take on a defensive posture, deploying an integrated shield that functions much like a deployable shield secondary gadget. While in this state, the idle shell can be used as an observation tool by Kyurei and her allies. Additionally, Skopos can access her idle shell's camera directly at any time with the gadget button. While Skopos is looking through her idle shell's camera, she'll have the option to swap shells. Activating the swap sequence will put her active shell into idle mode and put her idle shell into active mode. The only catch is that the active shell needs to be in a position where it can deploy its shield to perform the swap. Skopos' HUD has an indicator that'll make this easier. In fact, Skopos' HUD will display plenty of useful information about both shells, including whether the idle shell is under attack or being affected by an EMP. Skopos is a very tactically oriented operator that requires players to collect data and quickly act on it to maximize her potential. A strong Skopos player is one that makes frequent use of her idle shell to guide the actions of her active shell. For most players, Skopos will likely be a shallow roamer, operating near the bomb site while having the means to extend into a deeper roam or fall back and anchor as needed. If used strategically, she has the power to be one of the most mobile operators in the game. Skopos' idle shell can be a very strong piece of utility. Having the combined properties of a deployable shield and a bulletproof camera, this shield can offer a large amount of intel from relative safety. Skopos' idle shell is most effective when placed in key areas for the defenders to hold so that it can provide information and serve as a launching point for when the enemy least expects it.
Talos coming out!
Skopos is bringing a brand new gun to Siege, the PCX-33 assault rifle. Kyurei may not be bringing a sniper rifle into battle, but make no mistake, her shells are still packing some serious firepower. This weapon is precise, deadly, and heavily customizable, making it a versatile tool for a versatile defender. For a sidearm, Skopos carries a P229, a throwback to Kyurei's days in the Greek Special Forces. Skopos also has access to secondary gadgets. These are shared between her two shells. Her first option is impact grenades, a great choice to maximize her mobility and roaming potential. Alternatively, Skopos can bring proximity alarms. These synergize great with her idle shell, helping her know exactly the right time to take action. The Pantheon shells are 2-health, 2-speed operators, having been built for a balance between durability and mobility. Given their unique nature, Skopos' shells have a few special interactions. A good rule of thumb is to think of her active shell as an operator and her idle shell as a gadget. The first interaction you might wonder about is EMPs and gadgets that target electronic devices, like IQ. While Skopos' shells are electronic, the active shell has an active countermeasure that protects it from anti-electronic effects. It won't completely stop them, but it will prevent Skopos' active shell from being fully disabled by an EMP. This protection doesn't extend to the idle shell, however. Disabling effects will prevent Skopos from using the camera and swap features. Skopos' greatest counter is Dokkaebi. The hacker's calls are a threat to any roamer, but they also block Skopos' strongest escape plan. Additionally, Dokkaebi's universal hack can give her team access to the idle shell's camera. Brava's Kludge drone can overheat Skopos' idle shell. However, this takes a while and gives Kyurei a warning on her HUD. If she's fast enough, Skopos can swap to activate her countermeasures and prevent the overheat. In addition to being an electronic gadget, Skopos' idle shell's shield can be destroyed with explosives and similar effects, leaving the idle shell exposed for an easy kill. The glass can also be shattered, preventing allies from fully benefiting from its utility. A well-placed ash charge, frag grenade, or florist drone can make quick work of an undefended idle shell. The biggest threats to Skopos are her direct counters, so she benefits greatly from allies who protect her from them. Catchers like Jaeger and Wamai can protect her idle shell from explosives, and other denial gadgets, like those from Mute, Mozzie, and Tubrow, can stop many of Skopos' greatest enemies. Being made of metal, Skopos' shells can't benefit from healing effects. Doc's stims, Thunderbird's Kona stations, and Rook's armor won't help the shells. They also can't get put in a down state, and they don't breathe, meaning they're immune to toxic effects like smoke and Fenrir. That last fact can open the floor to some aggressive combos.
Op 4 eliminated.
Another strong approach to Skopos is to double down on intel. Maestro, Valkyrie, and Echo can offer more insight into enemy positions and even provide some distractions. That can be more than enough to let Skopos get into position and go for the kill. Skopos is designed to embody the key aspects of being a defender: gathering information and swiftly responding to attacker strategies. Skopos brings a level of adaptability that, if left unchecked, can turn the tide on even the strongest of attacks. We'll be keeping a close eye on her in the test server and throughout the season to see what players can do with her.